Hello there, this is Shubham, and today I'm here to talk about the liver. Actually, liver is the largest gland present in our body. It weighs about 1.2 to 1.6, if we talk about the range, 1.2 to 1.6 kilograms in mass, and on average, it weighs about 1.5 kg in healthy human adult. Talking about the location, it is present in the lower side of our body, in the right side of our body, just below the lower ribs, and beneath the liver, we have the gallbladder, which is connected with the cystic duct. And from the liver, a common hepatic duct is joining with the cystic duct and forming the common bile duct. Now, liver has two major lobes, so left lobe and the right lobe. And if we will talk about the blood supply going to the liver, so let me try to explain you about the blood supply, that how our liver is getting the blood, how the liver is getting the oxygen from the heart and the proper nutrition, and how the venous supply is coming out from the liver and going back to the heart. So let's talk about the blood supply to the liver. So here, for example, this is the heart, for an example. So here, for example, this is the heart. Okay, and from our heart, as you know, the aorta is, we have the aorta dividing into the ascending aorta, which is giving the blood supply to the upper part of the body, and descending aorta, which is giving the oxygenated blood supply to the lower part of our body. So liver, it is considered under the lower part of the body, so descending aorta is supplying the oxygen and the nutrients to our liver. So for example, from here, the aorta is coming, that is the descending aorta is coming, for an example, and let's suppose here is our liver. So here is our liver. Okay, so this is our liver, and this descending aorta is giving the many branches. So let me draw the branches over here. So for example, this is the first branch going, and this is the branch which is directly going to the liver. This is the branch which is directly going inside the liver, and this is the hepatic artery. So hepatic artery coming from the descending aorta branches into the hepatic artery and going directly into the liver, and this hepatic artery is giving mainly the oxygen to the liver. About 25% of blood supply is given by the hepatic artery to the liver. So this is the hepatic artery. So let me name this. So this is the hepatic artery over here. Hepatic artery. Now, one more branch is coming, even more branches are coming out of this descending aorta, and this is the splenic artery. And splenic artery, as name defines, that it is going to the spleen. For example, this is the spleen. So the splenic artery is going to the spleen. Actually, the spleen, stomach, and intestine, veins going from the spleen, stomach, and the intestine are making the portal vein, and portal vein is going to the liver, which is supplying about 75% of blood to the liver, and mainly the nutrients are supplied by the portal vein to the liver. Hepatic artery mainly supplies the oxygen, which is about 25% of the blood. So hepatic artery is supplying the oxygen, mainly oxygen to the liver, and the nutrients are supplying by the portal vein to the liver. So first I am just making the diagram so that you can really understand about that how portal vein is making the way into the liver, and how portal vein is getting the blood from three different organs, that is the spleen, stomach and the intestine. So first of all I have drawn the spleen over here. Now I am drawing the stomach. For example, this is the stomach. So for example, this is the stomach over here. Okay. And here also one more branch is coming to the stomach. So this was the branch from the celiac artery, from the descending aorta coming to the celiac artery. Celiac artery branches into the hepatic artery, which is going directly into the liver. About 25% of blood is going to the liver. Oxygen is supplying mainly through this artery. This is the artery which is joining the stomach from the descending aorta, and this is the artery which is splenic artery, joining the spleen. And one more branch is coming, which is joining the which will join the intestine. So this artery is going to connect with the intestine. For example, this is the intestine. So this is the intestine over here. Okay, and the mesenteric artery actually joins the intestines. So this is the arteries coming into the stomach with the oxygenated blood, because the descending aorta is carrying the oxygenated blood with it and supplying to these vital organs. Now the deoxygenated blood will go to the liver. So the veins will carry the deoxygenated blood, as we all know. So the veins from the stomach, veins from the spleen, splenic veins, and the veins from the intestine will join into one single vein. So for example, the veins coming from the spleen, stomach and the intestine will join to each other and will form a single vein, and that vein will be called as the portal vein. And actually the portal vein is carrying about the 75% of blood, 75% of blood, which is carrying mainly the nutrition. So the portal vein is carrying the nutrition with themselves, and the hepatic artery is carrying out mainly the oxygen. About 25% of blood is carrying out through the hepatic artery to the liver, and about 75% of blood is carrying out through the portal vein to the liver. So this is the overview of the blood supply to the liver, that how the liver is getting the blood. Now further I will talk about the anatomy of the liver, the main structures, the more details about the liver. But liver is getting the blood like this through the portal vein and the hepatic artery mainly. And further, with the hepatic vein, in the liver we have the lobules. First we have the lobes, and inside the lobes we have the lobules, classical lobules, hexagonal in shape, hexagonal lobules we call them. And there we have the central vein, And from the central vein, which is also called as hepatic vein is coming out of the liver and going to connect with the inferior vena cava, which further continues into the, so inferior vena cava will coming like this. So the hepatic vein will carry the deoxygenated blood from the liver and will continue into the right atrium from the back side actually. So this is the inferior vena. This is hepatic vein will continue into the inferior vena cava. Here I don't have much space, so I can really show you about that. So hepatic vein will continue into the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava will join and drains into the right atrium with the deoxygenated blood. So this is the complete blood circulation of the liver. Now let me talk about the liver, anatomy of the liver, and some histology of the liver, that how really machinery is going on inside the liver and how things are happening inside the liver. So let me rub this diagram and let me clarify more details about the liver. So let me rub this one. So if I will talk about the liver, liver has lobes inside it, and inside the lobes, if we look with the microscope, we will come across with the lobules over there, and these lobules are designed in the hexagonal shape. So for an example, here is our liver. So here was our liver, okay, and I'm magnifying the one portion of the liver and will try to show you that what machinery is happening and what is the process going on inside the liver. So for example, this portion over here, okay, actually it designs like this. Because they are about hexagonal in shape, and here I am drawing these are the hexagonal lobules, or the classical lobules of the liver. So these are the hexagonal lobules. Hexagonal lobules. In between the hexagonal lobules, as I mentioned earlier, that they have the central vein. They have the central vein right in middle. So they have the central vein over there. Okay. This is the central vein, for example. Now around it, there are the sinusoids, which are going from the central vein to the corners of these hexagonal lobules, and at each corner of these hexagonal lobules or liver, there is very precise structure and very important structure to present, and that is portal triad. Now what is portal triad? Let me clarify that. So first of all, let me draw the sinusoids, and then I will tell you about the portal triads and what structures consist of the portal triad. So here some kind of sinusoids are going through it up to the portal triad, and actually they are carrying the bile from the central vein to the corners of the portal triad, because bile duct is also one of the major portion of the portal triad. I will clarify about that. So first let me draw the sinusoids. So these are the sinusoids which are draining into the portal triad. So these are the sinusoids over here. And between these sinusoids we have some kind of cells, hepatic cells, and those hepatic cells are also called as the hepatocytes. So in between these sinusoids actually the hepatocytes are present. These structures are the hepatocytes actually. So these are the hepatocytes. These structures are the hepatocytes. And these were the sinusoids over here. The sinusoids. And this is the central vein. This was the central vein. Now let me talk about the portal triads actually. What are these portal triads? So remember that I first of all before drawing this and before explaining about the hexagonal lobules, I explained about the blood supply to the liver. The main purpose was that to really clarify about the portal triad. Actually portal triad, what structures they contain? They contain the hepatic artery. So this is the hepatic artery coming into the liver. So they contain the hepatic artery. Also they contain the portal vein. So sorry. They also contain the portal vein. So hepatic artery was carrying the, this is the hepatic artery. Hepatic artery was carrying the 75% of the blood, mainly the nutrition, and hepatic artery was carrying the 25% of blood, and mainly oxygen was carrying with the hepatic artery. Portal vein was carrying the nutrition. About 75% of blood was supplying through the portal vein to the liver. So the red one is the hepatic artery. With the blue one I have drawn the portal vein, and with the green one I am drawing the bile duct, bile drainage system. So this is the bile duct. Okay. So this structure is the bile duct over here. This was the portal vein, and this structure is the hepatic artery. So the hepatic artery and portal vein are coming into the liver from each side, each corners of the hexagonal lobules, and there are millions of hexagonal lobules present in the liver, present inside the liver. And hepatic artery, portal veins are coming into the liver with the blood. Okay, and over there they are carrying the oxygenated as well as deoxygenated blood over there. Eventually the deoxygenated blood will carry out with the help of the central vein or hepatic vein into the inferior vena cava, which drains finally into the right atrium of the heart. So what is the purpose of this bile duct over here? Bile duct actually carries the bile which is produced by our liver, and because this liver is producing the bile, so these sinusoids will carry the bile from here, from the central vein, and will carry it towards the portal triad, and finally the bile will be drainage through the bile duct actually. Okay, and why this portal triad is called as triad? Because there are three structures present over here at the corner of the each hexagonal lobule, at each corner of the hexagonal lobule, because hepatic artery, portal vein, and the bile duct, these are three structures which are forming the portal triad. That's why it is called as portal triad. So these three structures are called as portal triad. So this is very important in the liver. And remember that between these sinusoids the macrophages are present, and macrophages inside the liver are called as the Kupffer cells. So for example, these are the some kind of macrophages. These are some macrophages over here. Okay, here are some macrophages which actually eats up the bacteria, whatever bacteria is coming inside the hexagonal lobules. So these Kupffer cells or macrophages of the liver, which are also called as macrophages of the liver, will grab those bacteria and will kill them eventually. So this is mainly the structures present inside our hexagonal lobule, and how the liver actually drains in the further organs, because besides, just beneath the liver we have the, if I will draw the structure, so this is the right hepatic duct, for example, and this is the left hepatic duct continuing, and over here this is the cystic duct, and it is carrying the gallbladder over here. So this is the gallbladder, okay, which is the storage, which carries the storage of the bile. So liver is producing the bile with the help of the bile duct in at the corners of the hexagonal lobule. The liver will drain its bile into the left and right hepatic ducts that will form the common hepatic duct, and that will join the cystic duct where the gallbladder is connected with it. So gallbladder is present just beneath the liver, and it is carrying the bile. Okay. Further, this structure is continuing downwards and forming the common bile duct, because this common hepatic duct and cystic duct will form the common bile duct, and further it is continuing into the, and this is structure, this is the pancreatic duct, because here our pancreas is present. So this is the pancreatic duct over here, which is also taking the bicarbonate ions and some exocrine secretions with it, and those secretion will mix up with the bile, and further the bile is going into the duodenum, because this structure with the pancreatic duct, common bile duct and pancreatic duct, will further continue into the ampulla of Vater, where there is the duodenum is present. So with the help of its sphincter of Oddi, it will drain the bile into the duodenum for further digestion process and making the alkaline medium in the duodenum. So this was about the drainage of the bile. Because when we eat any kind of fatty food, we need bile to digest it. So the duodenum will produce the hormone, will secrete some kind of hormone, that is the cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin will actually stimulate the gallbladder to contract, and as the gallbladder will contract, bile will come into the common bile duct. Okay, through the cystic duct will come into the common bile duct, and with the pancreatic secretions it will go into the duodenum finally, and there it will start the digestion process. So this was about the bile drainage system and how the bile is actually helping in the digestion process inside the intestine. And so in conclusion, what I have talked about the liver till now, that first of all I told you about the liver blood supply to the liver, which structures are involving and making the portal vein, and from where the hepatic artery is coming, what is carrying the hepatic artery and what is carrying the portal vein. Hepatic artery is carrying the oxygen, portal vein is mainly carrying the nutrients and supplying the nutrients to the liver. Further, more details about the liver. Liver have the hexagonal lobules, classical lobules, at the corners of which we have the portal triad. Portal triad consists of the portal vein, hepatic artery and the bile duct. The drainage of the bile through the bile duct, how bile is helping in the digestion process further, and the central vein is present in between the hexagonal lobules, which is finally carrying the deoxygenated blood to the inferior vena cava, and inferior vena cava is finally draining into the right atrium of our heart, or human heart. So this was about the overall or overview of the liver, you can say. about the anatomy or some histology of the liver. About the functions of the liver, there are several functions of the liver. About all the clotting factors are synthesized inside the liver, all the globular proteins except gamma globulin. If you will exclude the gamma globulin, except that, about all the proteins synthesized inside the liver, synthesis of the glycoproteins, synthesis of amino acids. Okay, so synthesis of many amino acids, synthesis of many proteins, synthesis of angiotensinogen, which is very important enzyme in initiating the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system in our body, which is helping in the blood pressure regulation. So these were some functions of the liver. So I hope you like this stuff, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching this video.